step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends, writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg a plate a portal to a parallel vision. Mentorship spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order, make reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.
Keep spawning culture.
Well, hello. I know it's a little bit more, maybe not impromptu, because I do this, every Thursday at 5, but I forgot to set it up yesterday or days in advance so people could sign up for notifications. So we'll see if we get a crowd. So we already got some people, though. Notifications supposed to be going out. What's up, Exception? Hello, Mike Myers. Good to see you. What's up, Scuba? Ooh, that's a nice picture of gold. Emmeline Clementine. I don't know how you would say. Paul Gavin Music. What's up, Paul? Wanted to express my thanks for your help on my question regarding King Blues. It was a combination of CO2 and humidity. You were a big help when my next mushroom buys would be from Mossy Creek. Yes. Spend that money with me, please. That's the best thanks. No, I'm glad I could help. Thank you. What's up, nerd? Barbara Medlin finally made it. Welcome, Barbara. Glad to see you all on. We're going to try to give people a chance to get on here, but me silence my phone preemptively because I always forget to do that. All right. Phone silenced. And I am glad I didn't choose to do this tomorrow night. I thought about it so that we could have it, but I forgot tomorrow night we're going to see the symphony. So, do you remember that, Samantha? Didn't you remind me the other day? Yep, I forgot. Samantha tries her best, guys. She does, but I'm a mess and have always been one. But, well, welcome. It's getting chilly here. Winter has finally come. The kids there's not a child here, which is weird. To be fair, one of my children is an adult now, so not really a child. So there's that. But, which is weird transition. So for you youngsters, just know it's real weird when your kids become adults. It's kind of heartbreaking. They don't need you no more. Samantha's making a pouty face. That said, you end up being real proud of them and everything, and you're just like, it's kind of bittersweet. But my oldest has moved out. I ain't see him no more. Been gifting family some King Blue and BS26. Turn some mushroom haters into mushroom lovers. That's the way to do it, man. If you haven't tried those moon pearls, you should try those because it's like King Blue, but better, in my opinion. I'm going to do some in vitro grows and see how those hold up. Like if I can get the moon pearls to grow really nice and big in the bag without ever opening it, because that would be a big win. Would be if you don't even need a humidifier or fresh air, since it's mostly just stem tissue, right? Because the mutation, and CO2 makes for bigger stems, at least elongated stems. Would that change the moon pearls to be in something, desirable? Like, would it, maybe not? They're already desirable. Would it change something about how they grow, how much they produce? Would it help them elongate? Would it? I don't know. I don't know what it would do. We're just gonna try it. Winter, yeah. Tell me about it. Puffy Coat came out Tuesday. It dropped down to 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Nah, it's he's the guy in Virgin Islands. He said it got down. He said puffy coat came out Tuesday when it dropped down to 74 degrees. That reminds me when we went to. Yep, puffy coat. I actually just put this. What do you call this? It's 40 degrees outside. What do you call this kind of fabric? Long john material? Is this technically a type? Isn't this called long underwear? I don't know. It's an outerwear now. Michael Nerd just said it's 16 degrees there in Detroit, and said it's 21 degrees in Southeast Michigan. So, chilly is relative. When we went to Florida, April of last year, we went down to the beach and went swimming. And everyone on the beach was like freezing and dressed up in, it was downright tropical for us. Like we were like, oh, this is hot. And everybody else was talking about how freaking cold it was. And I was like, it's not cold. Maybe my truck is incorrect. I mean, I don't know. Detroit's always been cold as far as I know. And I've always noticed like Knoxville, if it's 40 degrees here, it'll be 30 something in Knoxville. It's always a few degrees cooler, like 5 or 6. We used to always, like if it was chilly here when we left to go to market, we knew it was going to be downright cold on Market Square. So I don't know. Maybe cities are a little chillier than the rural countryside. Trees do seem to buffer a lot of the temperature swings. Sitting in traffic in Southfield. Look at you two Michiganders. Tell me also, guys from Michigan, what is the affinity between Michigan and Tennessee? I know so many people that have moved down here from Michigan. And I know a lot of people here that have family in Michigan. And it seems it's not like a rare thing. It's like a very common thing. There seems to be some sort of connection between Michigan and Tennessee. Is it because Michigan's full of rednecks like Tennessee is? I would hope so. All right, guys. So I don't really have a lot going on tonight. I've been working all day. I've been trying to process through a bunch of old liquid culture jars. So just getting all of that out to from liquid culture to bulk inoculations. I've got jars sitting from like 2022 that I need to clear out. So I'm going through every day and just running 3 or 4 bags from every jar and then getting the LC jars processed and then so I can refill them. We've got a new system that we're working here in order to get all the, just the production going. I don't need a lot of one thing. I need lots of little things. So I think that's one of the big things for me is that we're running out liquid culture to bulk from jars. I think it's the nature. Is that what it is? I know. So like you got a lot of deer hunters here and a lot of deer hunters up in Michigan. I know. And I know the deer seem to be a little bit bigger up in Michigan, but people come down here and they go deer hunting. People from here go up there all the time. So I wondered if that was part of it. Can you describe how to make a 10-pound bag? I did my first ones a couple days ago. I want to see your thoughts. The easiest way is if you're going to do a master's mix and hydrate it to 50%, then you've got, or 60%. Like anytime you're doing 10 pounds is easy for the hydration. So if I want 60% hydration, 6 pounds of water, right? If you want a master's mix, then that you take your 4 pounds because it's a 50-50 and you're going to split it into 2 pounds sawdust, 2 pounds soy hulls. So that's the easiest way if you're going master's mix. Now, if anytime you're using different supplementation, you want you to use the calculation to get your supplementation somewhere around 4 to 5%, 4.5 to 5% is what I aim for, and of your dry materials. So, if you've got something with 20% protein content, like a commodity feed, sweet feed pellets, I think are oftentimes 12%. Oats, I've forgotten what oats sit at typically around here. Soybean hull pellets are around 9%, I think, which is why the 50-50 works out really, really well. And then wheat bran, I think, tends to be a bit richer. But anyways, what you would do is you just want to calculate out your protein content to your dry materials to about 4.5 to 5%. And then the rest of that 4 pounds is sawdust. So makes it easy peasy. My great grandma was from Tennessee. My grandma has great stories. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there just seems to be a lot of exchange between the two. So I don't have any family from Michigan, but like a lot of people I grew up going to church with were from Michigan or had family in Michigan. And then when we moved to this church here in Jefferson City from the Morristown one, we ended up having people that are, it's like the same thing. So, and then in school and everything else. Cool. I was on track. Thanks very much. You're very welcome, Gavin. It's 10-pound blocks are easy. If you want to save a little bit of labor, I like to go with 12-pound blocks and then a 12-pound block with 60% hydration is going to leave you 7 pounds of water. It's like 7 and a quarter, something like that. And then 5 pounds of solids. And then just do the rest of your calculations from that. But master's mix would be 2.5 sawdust, 2.5 soy whole pellets. And that's your master's mix right there. And then again, just anytime you're adding different supplementation or anything like this, excuse me. Anytime you've got other supplementation, you just do that calculation like we were talking about. Just a simple percentage. If I didn't have ties here in Michigan, I'd totally be in East Tennessee. I mean, yeah, it's terrible. Nobody should ever move here. Nobody should ever move to East Tennessee. It's the worst place. You all should believe me. Don't look into that. It's a terrible, terrible thing. For serious. All right. I don't really have a lot to show or anything today. We've got they've also given me there's a ton of new things on the streaming software, and I don't really know half of it yet. They've added all kinds of new tabs. It's like a lot of it's backstage stuff. Let's see. Oh, the recording's in progress. That's good. I forgot that I set it to auto record. So yeah, anyways, real quick, I'd like to do this at the beginning of each stream, and we've given it a few minutes, but just remember that we have our liquid culture deep dive class coming up on the 13th. And we have our next beginners cultivation class on January 10th. So that's the next 2 online classes that we have. The liquid culture deep dive will be covering a lot of stuff. I was working on setting up my aerated setup today. So we've got aeration. We have liquid culture to bulk systems. I was doing that today as well. We've got a lot of things, and we'll be moving around. What's what we did last class. I'm going to try a little bit of that this evening because I do have a couple of things that I need to do still. And so I thought I might just take you guys if I can get it. I don't know. My legs have been hurting today. Ever since I got sick, I've had some lower leg issues. So if they're feeling all right, we'll walk around the warehouse a little bit with the laptop. But other than that, we've got let's see, the 2 classes, and then the new changes that we're doing at the beginning of the year, starting January 1st. We're pretty much just going to offer spawn in of hericiums, and then we'll be doing our cultures of everything else, and we're going to release a lot more cultures. Samantha and I have just got the product page template and stuff set up to where it's going to be a lot easier to rip those things out. I've got some of my strain testers are reporting back to me some about some of the strains now, so we're getting some photos and a little bit of data. And then we have so that means that we'll be having a lot more strains for release. So now that we've got our terms and conditions out, We've got some of the production methods that we want done down. We've got some of the back end infrastructure done on the website, which means that we get to finally start adding things, and then we can start updating the look of the website, which is something that excites me. We're gonna have just all kinds of cool things starting up in January. I'm taking the holiday season mostly off. We taught a lot this year, and between being sick and teaching, I'm tired. So we're doing that, but we are preparing. I'm running out a ton of Hericium today. I've got some spalting projects that I'm doing in the background, so nothing that I'm really publishing, but a lot of the pigmentation of wood, the black zoning for like spalted maple and things like that. I'm super excited about spalting. I've got a lot of strains that we just ran out to grain today and to more liquid culture. And I've got a bunch of green elf cup that I'm about to throw in the aerated setup, hoping that it'll look nice for the class. A week and a half is not a lot of time for that to grow in. And then, goodness, we have mentorships. We are changing the format of our in-person mentorships. So that's going to be kind of interesting because I'm pairing up with a couple of my former mentees. And the whole idea will be we'll be working with guys who have now, who did our class like years ago, or did consultations with us, that kind of stuff, and are much larger than I actually got to, because I got up to about 1,500 pounds a week at my peak, and then I became a supplier, so I dropped off commercially. But I've got some stuff going on to where for full, like, large basics courses, I'll be teaming up with those guys. As far as laboratory stuff goes, we'll still be offering in-depth laboratory classes. So mushroom breeding, liquid culture bulk systems, agar, like people that want to do pre-poured plates, things like that. We'll be doing a lot of that kind of teaching in person, but it'll be more like a 3-day course versus a full week. Maybe even 2-day. I've got to figure it out, because I think that we can do all of that in 2 days, do a crash course, and just really hit that hard. So I think for the in-depth laboratory mushroom breeding, the genetics, I want to start offering some of the DNA extraction in that class as well. So we'll be setting up some pretty cool stuff, but part of it is I have to slow down on the week-long stuff. And honestly, I've got students now who took the mentorships and can do their own now, so partnering up with those. Trying to, as I move up, leave a ladder for other people to move up as well. And then having trouble streaming to Facebook. Well, that's all right. We'll see how that it might pop back up. And then of course we're dedicating ourselves a lot more to like the mycologium stuff as well. So we're doing a lot more mycologium work. Actually, can you pull that oyster out of the fridge? So part of all this slowdown, simplifying, is so that we can focus more and more, thank you, on the mycologium, the collection of strains, preservation of them, the DNA testing of them, everything else. But I'm not going to unwrap this, but that is an oyster. So I'm just sent into the mycologium. So this thing is huge. I mean, I cannot wait to get these genetics. I'm going to clone them tomorrow. But this thing is going to be phenomenal, I think. We'll be cloning that in like 15 different ways just to hold on to that, because I like it when I get them large oysters in. But of course, we'll be doing Michelodium. That was from Missouri. Missouri oyster. That was sent to me from Missouri. It arrived yesterday, and I've collected. I mean, we've got a bunch of stuff to be working on. Like I've got some wild puffballs from the local valley here, and a bunch of other things. So, being able to simplify my product line and just mass produce that stuff allows me to do a much better job of that. But then moving to more and more teaching, because I think that we're going to have I'll have a bigger effect getting more people in. We can do teaching the bioprospecting, the laboratory thing. And then, as far as like commercial cultivation goes, I've got guys that I think who want to do a lot more of that in-depth, week-long kind of thing. And I think that that's going to be a good way to go. And it allows me to focus on the laboratory side of things, which is just where I've been moving to anyways. Elevator pitch of your business model. Well, I guess that kind of depends on what you mean by elevator pitch, right? Elevator pitch example. Let's see, what does that mean? Concise 30 to 60 second introduction of yourself or your business, often structures your name, what you do, your key skill for achievement, your goal, and call to action. Okay, so I've got that kind of stuff like written down, Barbara, but I don't have that written out just yet. I mean, the main thing would be, hi, I'm Andrew Reed of Mossy Creek Mushrooms, and we want to become the Hericium experts, basically. We want to, I'm collecting everything I can, but as far as like selling stuff, we really want to focus on Hericium. But you mostly just did it. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that's the thing, is that I want to be, I'm already have one of the largest Hericium libraries there is. I have, because of the Michelodium in part, I have been breeding Hericium for a while now and have lines made for extraction and some that we're doing for more gourmet stuff. And so I know a lot more about the physiology and the biology behind it than almost anyone else that I've met does. Not saying that I'm the leading expert, just there's not a lot of information on Hericium. So once you start reading up on it and getting into it, it ends up making you an expert pretty quick as far as that goes. But it's a profitable mushroom. It's one that I really, really like, I really, really like and believe in. It is one that is popular in the medicinal crowd. It's one that's popular in the gourmet side of things. It works really well for me from a production standpoint. Breeding Hericium is more interesting to me than breeding most other things, though I'm breeding everything I can get my hands on. And then it just makes a lot of sense. We've got a lot of people that are focusing a lot on oysters, and I think that there needs to be a lot more. Like, Hericium has far wider phenotypes than I expected, right? Like, you've got your species, number one, your lion's mane, your cone tooth, your conifer corals, your bear's head, etc. But you have, even within each one of those species, a wide variety of textures. And the one that really brought this up to me is there's one we have, it's the New York Hericium is what we call it. It's from Hamlin Beach, New York, I think. And it has it's a comb tooth, but it has a texture that's like, how do you explain it? I mean this in a good way, but it is a texture very much when you cook it, like when you have noodles and they're not completely cooked all the way, so they're kind of softer on the outside with kind of a pop or a crunch to it, except that I don't like that when the noodles are like that, but I like this. It has a unique texture. But then that really opened my mind to, I mean, like, but even before then, I was already exploring some of this. But like, you have tribbles, which is like really meaty, but far more on the extract side of things. You have the Tennessee Lion that we're about to release, which is one a fellow here named Mr. Denise brought us, that on the plate, the mycelium is exuding these milky white droplets, and I want to get those tested for erinacine and hericinone contents. So it's just like, that's just where, when you look at everything, that's just where it makes the most sense for me to be. Hey, speaking of Mr. Denise, there's Brian with our Hericium photo. Your violet edge didn't survive the cold snap. Just check today. Well, love you too, Mr. Denise, and thank you very much. What he means is the he's talking about the violet tooth polypore, and I want that because I had a strain of that one time, and with cold snap probably, yeah, I absolutely wrecked it. I bet because I see them typically growing in late summer, but maybe early fall. But it grows a nice violet edge to it, and when you grow it in grain, it'll oftentimes have a purple look to it. So I'm wanting to know if it'll spalt wood with that, or if it's just going to be flat out white rot fungi. But yeah. Hey, it's Brian B. Nice to see you making teaching official. I am. Yeah, man, I am super excited about it. I wasn't in the beginning. I had some like things like I don't know, like I just had these things where I'm like, well, I'm teaching, but I don't know that I really want to be teaching. But since I started doing it officially, I am in love with it. It has been just absolutely killer, and the response has been fantastic. Wesley just did it. Excellent. Because I have learned more from you than any other teacher. Oh, well, shoot. Thanks, Brian. That's high praise. I hope that I am. I do think I'm a fairly effective teacher for the most part. I'm good at breaking complex subjects down into fairly simple, digestible bits that hopefully make it easy to learn. Al dente. Is that that's the name of that texture? So it has kind of an al dente texture, but is al dente considered again a good thing? Let's see. Is al dente considered good? Oh, yeah, it's considered good. Cooked to a firm, slightly chewy texture. Okay, yeah, then maybe that's what I'm going for, because yeah, it's absolutely. It provides a satisfying bite and holds its shape, preventing the pasta from becoming soggy. I would say that's it. Maybe a slightly crunchier than al dente. Like a little bit firmer than that, maybe. Oh. But it also has an interesting flavor. Like apparently, some of you guys may know this. I remember when we would grow on soy, certain lion's manes would become very bitter. And I was researching a lot in nutrition, fungal nutrition, a few months ago, back when I was on oxygen, and since then, of course. But one of the things that we ran into was how Hericium look for, find, identify, uptake, utilize, etc. Their food. And it's a really interesting system, but supplementation changes lion's mane big time. Supplementation changes the way lion's mane behaves on a lot of stuff. Screen just went black. Hello, screen. There we go. Well, if that froze, let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. The supplementation changes the way lion's mane tastes pretty dramatically, which is one of the reasons why log-grown lion's mane is the best. It's also interesting that log-grown seems to have a different medicinal profile. Now, we don't really know a lot about that. We don't necessarily know that that's better than supplemented or unsupplemented blocks. And there's a lot. Yeah, supplementation changes. The supplementation changes the flavor profile, meaning like the soy that we add. Like if you just grow off pure sawdust, you don't tend to get quite as good of yields. Though I will say lion's mane tends to yield better on lower supplementation than oysters do. Oysters seem like they're heavier feeders. But, a log can produce prodigious flushes, like just very large, meaty flushes. without the supplementation. And so a lot of what we do as supplements in our substrate is not actually to help us produce better flushes, but rather to help the mushrooms access the resources in the block faster. Plus, I mean, sawdust obviously is going to be a lot fluffier than a log. But anyways, there's just a lot that goes into this. Like it's super interesting to get into a lot of that. Log grown is often many years old. Well, see, that's the thing though. So I've been so as some of you guys know, I've been kind of interested in some of the AI stuff that's been the AI modules and services that have come out, and one of them that I really like, of course, is ChatGPT. That's probably one of the most common, most successful ones. But it allows you to dig into Japanese and Chinese and Korean texts that haven't been translated to English. So I'm learning a lot about, I've been digging really deeply into a lot of the Japanese methods of growing mushrooms, and the AI can translate that stuff for me very effectively and very quickly. And so, whether it's PDFs or specific studies, you can get it to guide you in all kinds of different directions, or you can guide it to translate certain things. But there are ways to speed up log-grown mushrooms with very few tools. It's actually really cool. I'm working on some videos actually that I want to release early next year on it, probably around right before spring. But there's some super cool log cultivation stuff that the Japanese do that has really just opened my eyes to how effective log cultivation can be, and how they're able to make money on it in Japan, whereas in America, log cultivation is seen as a waste of money a lot of times. So, but there are ways to get it, and logs will produce, kind of like what you're saying, where they're often many years old. They can sit there and produce years for years and years, season after season. And so the AI makes that super easy to just, because it can read Chinese, Japanese, and English about as well as it, as well as one for the other. And it makes it an easy translation service, basically. I'm kind of blown away by how good of a translation service that is. Teddy, quit scratching. He's not even paying attention. I need to get a dog cam on him or something, right? Right, Teddy? He's not even paying attention. Teddy, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. Up. Good boy. Good boy. You're just going to melt into me. So that's we've kind of gone over like all some of the early stuff, and I've gone on some tangents here, but yeah, I think that I'm gonna be doing things a little bit differently next year. Things have had to change. I've been going too hard on all fronts, and I've got to pick which fronts we're actually gonna focus on. So the as far as like scalable spawn goes, that's why we're focusing on Hericium. Plus, a lot of other people don't do that. I mean, you've got places that focus on shiitake. Field and Forest does an amazing job of focusing on shiitake spawn. That's their bread and butter. They do a few other things too, but that's their bread and butter. You've got people that do some oyster spawns and things like that. And I have more of a unique library of Hericium than anyone I know. So I think that that's the best way to go for us on that. And then as far as teaching goes, I just have to slow down because the week-long stuff is awesome. It's great to be able to spend that much time with people, but it gets really hard to keep up with my work. I get behind on orders. And then, of course, that ends up being where people get unhappy that I'm behind on stuff. Well, I'm behind on stuff because I'm teaching and I'm talking. So why not just teach as the main thing? And I can reach more students more effectively through the teaching method. So that's the changes. That's the primary changes on how we're going to do things. But it's going to be an exciting year. I think 2026 is going to be a fairly big year for mushrooms. I know 2025 was, and it seems like it just kind of keeps getting better and better in some ways. 2025 was a year of upset, though, a lot of things got shaken loose. A lot of players kind of got out of the game. There's a lot of people that have gotten into the game. A lot of people got out of the game. A lot of money came into the game. Really shook things up and changed things. The tariffs changed things. It has been a very shifting kind of year, and some people have adapted very well, and some people have just launched their businesses, so they're kind of just used to it because they launched it at the right time. And then some people are just moving. Some people have gone on and moved into new things. But is there a culinary focus within what you're planning for Hericium? Absolutely, yeah. We're doing Hericium extracts and Hericium extract lines and culinary lines. In fact, the one of the comb tooths that I just pulled out today of cold storage is like my favorite gourmet Hericium ever. I call it the lobster tail of mushrooms. But it's a comb tooth that is just so meaty and branched compared to any other. Like most comb tooths are really light and airy and fluffy and kind of fall apart and delicate. And this one is not delicate. It is meaty. And so that's going to be one of the best ones that we pull out and utilize. Pulling it out in cold storage, I can go from cold storage straight to liquid culture, but that's from biopsy, and so it's going to take. It'll be 2 or 3 weeks before that bioreactor is completely done. So it takes time to boot up, and then in order to get that into spawn, will take another week or two. And that's if I get it right. No contamination issues or problems. We did our test and everything looked clean for the moon pearls back a while back, and so we tested that, and then we released the strain, and then we had like the spawn came out great, and then the liquid culture didn't, and then right whenever we switched everyone from spawn to liquid culture, the next liquid culture bioreactor went down with contamination. The spawn went down, and then the liquid culture came out good. So now everything's clean and working out great. But man, that was hard because a lot of people had to wait a long time before we were able to ship them clean moon pearls. And so I'm going to wait a little longer on the next release of the comb tooth. If you still have pictures of that lion's mane, I will see it if it flushes out this year. Maybe help see if it's different this season, weather related or something. I think I have some photos of it. If you send them to me via email, then I'll have them. Oh, the pictures and stuff pictures and data are always secondary to actually getting the strain in place. But pictures and data are always really nice to have. And I'm not sure when you brought that to me. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We didn't put any subject lines on stuff, though. So I don't know. I've got some pictures of reishis, turkey tails, russulas, more reishis, that pink one you brought me, that giant polypore. But the lion's mane would have been later. Let's look at 2024. I think that's when you brought it to me anyways. Chicken of the Woods. Berkeley's polypore. Just so you guys know, Mr. Denise brings me a lot of mushrooms. Yeah, I'm not sure where if we have the lion's mane picture. Okay, so I've got one that you brought me in 2023. Did you bring that to me in 2023? I think maybe you did. So here is one. There, that's one that you brought me. I don't know if that's the one that we call the Tennessee Lion or not. I don't remember how many you've brought me. In fact, I might have another photo of it. There we go. That one's a little clearer. So yeah, I mean, you've brought me at least one lion's mane, and that was 2023. In fact, I think it was 2023 when you brought that to me. But yeah, Barbara, the culinary side of things is very important to us. That's where we got our start, and I like the medicinals, but I'm also of the opinion that the medicinal side of things is still very much in its early phase, and so I really want to. Culinary is where I think most of the money is going to be made for most people early on, and of course, I want to make sure that we're a part of that. And we'll still sell all of our strains of liquid culture. Like, people don't have to worry about that. We'll still sell plates, slants, liquid culture of all this stuff. It's just the spawn that we're moving to, and most people have not relied heavily on us for spawn anyways, unless they're doing subscriptions. And we'll still do oysters and everything else in subscription spawn. So anyone who does subscription spawn gets special consideration, but that's because it's something we can count on week to week. We can plan it out. It's not herky-jerky, up and down inventory, logistics nightmare kind of stuff, the way the online sales can be. So with Hericium, we're going to be mass producing that and growing it through our grow room, testing a bunch of different strains, breeding a whole bunch of new ones, etc. So with that comes a lot of production we'll already have in place. I'm sleepy today. It's already dark outside, and I don't know what's going on, but it's like it's not even 6, but these days that darkness hits and I'm ready for bed. I do have the sauna going, and the sauna will be, honestly, it'll be ready in like 15 minutes or so, but I plan on being on here a little bit longer as long as people are asking questions and interested in stuff. Again, I didn't plan this live stream out very well this week. Spawn being colonized grain spawns. Yes, except that we do what we call super spawn, which is a 50-50 blend of whole oats and sawdust. It serves a couple of different purposes for us. One is that it ships better, and you get large inoculation points and tons of small inoculation points. So it ends up working really, really well as a spawn type. It ships a lot better because the sawdust holds together better. So your mycelium tends to be a lot less beat up by the time it arrives. And you're in a pinch for us if it's sitting in the walk-in, let's say, to ship, and it's like, oh, that's getting past the point of being good. Then we can just take it to the grow room and fruit it. And it may not fruit as big as a truly put together supplemented block, but it'll fruit still quite considerably and well. But yeah, so it's spawn, just not grain spawn. Exactly, because we're doing the sawdust is with it. What's your plans with the Hericium Horde Patreon if you're going to release a bunch to the store? I mean, you guys will be getting a lot of those that'll be being released, but you'll also, the first sets will be stuff that we need to re-release, so our site store has changed from what it used to be, and I used to have a lot more Hericium on there. So like we have our Fractal, Mammoth Tusk, Saber Tooth. I was pulling all those today. So we've got a lot of that stuff. Samantha and I have been working on Patreon this week. We'll be working on it next week. I don't remember what she was working on, like which portion, but the Hericium Horde is a part of that for sure. And we'll be doing, we're pulling Dyson Sphere, Fractal, Saber Tooth, Mammoth Tusk, Mossy's Mane, Inspired, Tribbles, oh my goodness. I can't remember the name. Dyson Sphere is going to be an interesting one for people. I'm going to have to put out a disclaimer with that one because it likes it hot. It likes hot temperatures. But that'll be one of the ones going out as well. And that'll be for people to use a little bit later in the year, obviously. But we're also going to be restructuring the Patreon. But first, I've got to get things changed on the website Then we'll be moving over, and we're going to change the Patreon tiers one tier at a time. So that'll happen eventually. But since we're doing a lot more of the teaching stuff, I need to offer some of those things. So some of that stuff will change. I don't know if the Hericium Horde will change or not, but I know that we have several strains being pulled for the Hericium Horde, and those will be listed on the website. And then the new stuff will be listed, but I have to grow some of that stuff out and take photos. And there's some stuff I want to get tested, and there's some stuff that I've got to send out to the strain testers, because beyond just my testing, the strain some of the strain testers are giving me that good data, and I want that good data. Plus, some of them can take way better photos than I can. For Super Spawn, do you still use the 7.25 pounds of water? No. Well, I guess if I was to do a 12 pound, no, I hydrate. Super Spawn's hydrated to 50% instead of 60%. So that would be 6 pounds of water if you're doing 12 pounds. 12 pounds of Super Spawn. But that's only if you're using it as spawn. If you're using it as a fruiting block, then I would add that extra 1.25 pounds of water. But that can get a bit wet versus I like the spawn to be a little drier. So it helps the spawn run faster when it's drier. And then it doesn't support as big of a flush. So that is one of the problems that I have whenever I use it for myself. I'd much rather sell it as spawn than to put it in the grow room, because it'll have one nice flush, but then the second and the thirds aren't that great. Now, if I'm making fruiting blocks, I build them to where they can support second and third flushes a little bit better. So it depends on what the purpose is, but I have to be really flexible, and I have to have a more flexible system than most people, because my system is, we call it the value cascade, right? I want to be able to create value in my system at let's say the slant. I want to sell slants, culture plates, liquid cultures, spawn. But once it gets to that spawn point, I want it to be able to then, if I don't sell it all, it'll go to the fruiting room, and I'll at least get a flush out of it that can be dried and then used for extracts. That can be put into, we're now offering CSA. And that's actually what I'm finding I like the best style right now is the CSA. I charge a little bit more for it than I do restaurants, but I charge less than I would if I was selling it at market. And people like the change every week, it seems like. So like this past week, right for Thanksgiving, we did all shiitake for the CSAs. So the shiitake, people were really happy with full shiitake boxes. Though I did try to get people some change too, but I just had packed so much shiitake, and I had really wanted it for Thanksgiving. I ended up not making my shiitake mushroom gravy that I wanted to, but I still plan to. So, but that's kind of how I work it. Is everything's got to be in a value cascade. So if I don't sell the mushrooms to the CSA, they can be dried, and then once they're dried, I can sell them as dry product, or which I need to get that on the website as well. They can sell them as dry product, or we can sell them as extracts. And so now at this point, every point can be sold until it gets to a shelf-stable product. I love growing unknown stuff. Yeah, me too. I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason why I like the mycologium so much. Part of it's the importance, the tree hugger aspect of me, wants to try to catalog and save as much genetics as we can, since we know that we're in a shifting landscape. But the other side of it too is I'm delighted by the weird stuff. I'm delighted by growing something strange and new. So, what? Do what? You're just delighted at my being delighted? Well, good. I'm delighted that you're delighted that I'm delighted. My bad. I was thinking fruiting block. Oh, yes. Yeah. Super Spawn only acts as a fruiting block in a pinch. It's not the main, if I sell spawn for, $25. She thinks that being her putting cold hands and stuff on me is gonna make me squeal. You Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. What are you doing outside? Blocks. You opening blocks? Designating areas for blocks. I took out a bunch of contaminated, spent, old stuff and etc. today, and put it on her freshly cleaned front dock that she cleaned because she's got a friend coming in this weekend. And then so I think she's like, yeah, she's like, you just dirtied what I just cleaned. Hey, can you put this back? Man, that is like the meatiest damn oyster. Yep. She brings up a good point. Whoever sent that Missouri oyster in, your name was not on the package. You didn't put a note in there. So I don't actually know who sent that in. And have no idea. We do have the address, right? Okay, so we have the return address at least. So I can mail a culture plate out or whatever. But no name in the address. But you spill that coffee. Is that coffee? Samantha, it's 6 o'clock in the evening. Good grief, woman. You're going to be up all night. Nope. She says she won't, but she will. Oh, goodness. That woman. All right, let me go potty real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Pee break. This one, since we were talking about. Imagine a world where the most unique, rare, and powerful mushroom strains are preserved, studied, and shared with growers like you. That's exactly what we're building with the Mycologium, a living archive of fungal biodiversity, sourced from the wild, expanded in the lab, and made available for researchers, growers, and curious minds alike. But here's the best part. You can be a part of it. If you're a bioprospector, a forager, or just someone who loves finding cool mushrooms in the wild, you can send in your samples. If you send me in a wild mushroom and I can successfully clone it, I'll send you back a cleaned up culture of it. If you send me a culture that you've already cleaned up yourself, I'll send you one for our library, ready to grow, experiment with, or add to your collection. That's right. Culture for culture. You help expand the library, and you get something amazing in return. The goal? To preserve fungal diversity, to give people access to new genetics, and maybe, just maybe, to discover something truly groundbreaking. So if you've got an interesting mushroom, a rare find, or a strain that deserves a place in the archives, send it in. Let's build something incredible together. The Mycologium, preserving fungal biodiversity, one culture at a time. Want to learn more? Hit us up, shoot us a message, and let's keep spawning culture, y'all. All right. I just got a photo from my mama. And, oh, my mama sent me a text about sushi. So, nothing I have to look at right now. But, she knows I'm a fan. We got a package, by the way. From JH over at SH Scientific. And I know what this should be. Ooh, baby. Look at that. Probes. Temperature probes for the autoclave. We, one of our mentorships was here. Another reason we're moving. No, I'm just playing. One of our mentorships was here. This sticks in the bottom in the basket where all your blocks sits right above it. And one of the mentorships, I guess, got it hung up in this temperature probe. And I had 2 bad cooks after that. And I was like, why are my cooks going bad? What is wrong? And then we found there was a crack excuse me, in the temperature probe all the way around. And And, that stuff happens. That's something we count on when we have mentorships and stuff. It's not a big deal. But I didn't have any extras. Hence the 2 this time. Is I always try to have extra spare parts laying around, especially stuff that I commonly mess up, because I've destroyed these temperature probes before in the past. So I like playing with the bolts. Anyways, these things are actually easier than I thought they would be to replace back in the day, which is good, because that autoclave is pretty much the heart of my operation these days. That's how I do the large liquid culture bioreactors. That's how I do a bunch of the small ones. That's how I do blocks. That's how I do, well, unless I've got a big order of blocks. If I got a big order of blocks, then I do, then I have to use ultra pasteurization. But the you said you're drinking coffee. Well, you're an hour behind us, right? So goodness. So we during Thanksgiving, I went over. It got quite cold that night, but we went over to my grandmother's house, and my cousin's kid, so my first cousin once removed, I think. Anyways, he was begging people to play 2-on-2 basketball. I was like, I don't know, man, Strider, I can't take that kind of, the cold, dry air on my lungs. I have not recovered enough that aggravates the scar tissue in my lungs. And he kept pressing for it. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll play with you if you're on my team and I don't have to do anything, right? I can just shoot the ball and you can do all the running around. And he took me up on it. So we did. But then, how it is, you get to having fun. And as you're having fun, I start moving around. As I start moving around, I'm breathing that cold air. And then I get into a bad coughing fit. And I should have known better. But, fun is fun. And family is worth having fun with. But I've ever since then, my lungs have been a little aggravated, which is part of the reason why I'm coughing. Not his fault, my fault. But how much less power does that autoclave use than 36 hours on a steamer? Well, Dish, that is, I don't actually know exactly, but we can quantify some of that. So you have my boiler for the steamer runs 9 kilowatts at 36 hours. Right now in the cold temperatures, I might run it for 48, depending. But it's somewhere between 24 and 48, so let's just stay at 36. So and don't get me wrong, it's cheap for me compared to a lot of people. So 36 cents, 36 hours times 11 cents a kilowatt hour is $3.96. And then I'm running 9 kilowatt hours, so that's $35.64 per run. Excuse me. This gets much worse. I might have to jump off. But anyways, so you got $35.64 is how much it cost me to run just the electric for that steamer run. So if you divide that price, though, by 120 blocks, which is what I can fit in there, you're talking 30 cents per block. So absolutely worth it. Now, I run for a lot less time. It's a lot fewer blocks. So I run for 3 hours, and then you got the warm up and the cool down. So let's just say it runs for 4 hours. But it's also 9 kilowatts. So 4 times 0.11 is 44 cents per kilowatt hour. And then you multiply that by 9. So it's $3.96, right? Now, for that, I'm running 15. Well, no, actually, that would be, hold on a second. So remember, 396. 12. So I run 5-pound blocks in those autoclave typically. I can run 30 of those. So that comes out to 150 pounds divided by 12 would be 12.5 blocks. So let's just say 12 blocks because you're not going to, though I can fit 14 in there. I know I can. So 14. So 14 12-pound blocks. So $3.96 divided by, let's just say 13 blocks to be conservative. It's 30 cents a block. So that comes out to 30 cents a block if it stays on the whole time. Wait a minute, right? Yeah, 30 cents a block. That said, the autoclave has the advantage that it heats up to temperature and then turns off. And turns off and on and off and on just to keep the temperature up. And because it's a pressure vessel, I do get actual sterilization rather than pasteurization. So I get a better clean product. So it's not really much cheaper. It might be a couple pennies per block, but it is fully automated. It cuts off. I don't have to worry too much about it. It keeps itself at temp. It is a little cheaper, and then I have the sterile edition of it. No, Eastern Standard Time in Michigan. Gotcha. Well, did I mess up somewhere? I technically have been diagnosed with a mathematical learning disability. So while I am crazy big on spatial reasoning and language ability, I'm very high on. I am very low on the mathematical side of things. So I was definitely working with a calculator. And probably messed something up there somewhere. Okay, my math was good. Okay. Didn't know. Pardon me. The kids leave their backpackers out again. Yeah, you're in the frame. Yeah, you've been over and put something in that drawer too, and I was like, I can't believe she's doing that in front of the camera. Just playing your jacket. It was fine. Sorry, guys. I like messing with her. Makes me happy to mess with her. Yeah, I just got an email earlier today from Nourish Cap. Hello, Mossy Creek Mushrooms are reaching out to mushroom cultivation leaders to find unique stories to tell from an educational and scientific perspective. Do you have an uncommon idea or fresh perspective that we might consider sharing with our mushroom curious audience? Regards, Ben. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do I have is there something you think would be uncommon idea or fresh perspective? I mean, I'm sure I've got something we could use. I also just don't know. I don't know that I know these guys. Indeed, I've not heard of these guys. I'll have to check them out at some point. I'll say Brian. I'll tell her whenever she comes back in here. She just went through the doors. I think she's drinking coffee and it's got her into a cleaning frenzy now. The energy. Oh, speaking of those 2 lion's mane that you got me, we grew those out. I think I showed you, but I can't remember if I did or not. I do have pictures, but I'm pulling. Those are on the list to pull. So I have 2 jars of those running, and I'm about to pull those and throw those to bulk substrate. So I have the Savior B1 and Savior B2 lion's rings. But both of those are about to get pulled as well out of cold storage. And then liquid culture yards drained. Brian from Savior B says, hello, Sam. She said, oh, hi, Brian. She said she loves Brian. Speaking of Brian, I've got part of this teaching thing that I'm planning on doing is that I haven't set it up yet, but I'll be doing weekly Discord chats again. That's usually a wintertime thing, anyways. I know, but I'm going to make it a standard part of the teaching, but also to be available. So I'll be on here, but then for anybody that wants to have further and even less formal access to me, kind of like you already do, but we'll be having the Discord chats again. So I'll definitely be putting an announcement out, and I'm going to try to standardize it some on a particular day, but we'll see what it is. I'm not sure if evenings or daytime will be better, though, for most people. So evening's always easier for me. What's up, Masked Mofo? Might get some snow to go along with that cold. Is it supposed to get that cold tonight? I haven't checked the weather. I did have I pulled a bunch of shiitake out of our walk-in. Let's see. Nope, I want my weather app. So it is going to get not down to freezing tonight for us. So no snow for us. And it looks like over the next few days, it will get to freezing once on Monday. We might have a little bit of snow Monday evening. That's the closest we're going to come. And it would be like for an hour is what they're saying. So we'll see. So no snow for me. Hopefully snow for you if you want some. Not everybody likes snow. I love snow. I like the cold. I like the snow. I was actually thinking about getting out today. I've got loads of logs. I've had 2 dump trucks to drop off loads of logs here, and some of those logs are slated for spalting experiments, and then some of those are slated for shiitake, hericium, oyster, enoki, and chestnut logs. I'm going to be working with what is called log fragmentation fruiting. Yeah, log fragmentation fruiting. And part of that is like you make a shiitake log, let's say like an 8-foot log, right? I can cut it up, inoculate it. I'll probably cut them down to 4-foot sections because that'll fit on the pallets. So we'll just take it, cut it in half, inoculate the logs, stack them based on strain by the pallet so that we can move them around with the forklift. And then once you get to the point where you want to, and this is part of me experimenting with these rapid logs like they do in Japan. In Japan, they see the way we do logs, and they think that's a very amateurish, rookie, beginner. It's a beginner-friendly method, we'll say. But in Japan, they do a lot more just chainsaw work, really, is what it comes down to. And so I'm planning on taking these like 4-foot logs. Once the spawn run is complete, you can take them and cut them down to smaller portions. So like 1-foot sections. So we can cut a 4-foot log. What you would cut that 1, 3. So you'd make 2 cuts into the log, and you get 4 1-foot sections. And then you have those 1-foot sections. You fruit those, but part of the chainsaw there, chainsaw logs kind of acts as a shock to the system, and helps you get the fruiting that you want, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to experiment with what's called log fragmentation fruiting. And we're even going to try doing some indoor logs and some outdoor logs. So that's going to be fun. But I think Discord was very good for you early on, for sure. Oh yeah, early on, even now it would be really good. the big problem is that we get people that get in, absorb all the knowledge, and then get busy, and then nobody's got time to talk once they're busy. That's not true. We got a lot of people coming back now for sure, and doing a lot of that work. So Japanese tend to master whatever they do, so it's probably good. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm hoping. It's crazy to me because I've always wondered how do you make money growing mushrooms on logs, right? Like I just can't see it as such a laborious process. Man, they just rip all the labor out of it. Not that I've ever heard of the Japanese culture as being one afraid of work, but by any means. But they definitely seem to have made the mushroom logs way more efficient, and it's going to be interesting because this allows, like, this whole parking lot. We were planning on doing a plant nursery out here, but the spalting experiments and the logs now are looking like that might actually take the place of some of that. And we'll still do a lot of our aquatic vegetation, flowers, and things like that. But and we've got next door, Ben and Seth have started selling co-op goods, so like scratch grains, dog food, salt licks, corn, all kinds of other grains and things like that, so people can get them here local. But yeah, I think that the plant nursery is still something I want to do at some point, especially with the plant tissue culture. But the truth is that fungus continues to reign supreme in my life. So, but yeah, so we're going to go a lot more. We're going to experiment with some of these Japanese methods because, I mean, they're just so beautifully simple. Any thoughts on breeding a sporeless golden oyster? So there's a couple of things that I've thought about doing with this. One is to talk to Jake Howard. He did such a good job with the King Blue, turning that into the initial material for, which it looked a lot more like when it was the Blob or the King Blue Truffle. I feel like it looked a lot more like kind of like, I mean, it wasn't like Enigma, but it was similar-ish kind of thing. Anyways, the point being that when I took that and then selectively bred the spores that he gave me, now we have the moon pearls. And I mean, I think his King Blue Truffle was an improved version of the original Blob that he sent me. Both of them worked out really, really well. And of course, there's no spores with that. And honestly, the moon pearls I thought were a pretty low yielding strain until this cold weather has hit. And now I'm getting massive yields off my moon pearls. So that's kind of blowing my mind. But the other side of this is that may be the best way to go for a sporeless gold. You could still get the flavor. I don't know. It might still produce a golden color. If we could get it to blob and then make it like a golden blob, I don't know if it would be attractive. But if it had the flavor, the L-ergothioneine profile, which is an amino acid, that's very strong anti-inflammatory. So golden oysters have one of the strongest anti-inflammatory molecules out there. And they have it in just a massive amount, which is one of the reasons why I'm so big on golden oysters still being cultivated. But if we could get a sporeless strain, that would be pretty cool. That said, I'm literally writing an article on trying to be fair and balanced on why I don't think the golden oyster spread is anything to be afraid of necessarily, and that people are leaping to fear without understanding on the golden oyster side of things. I pulled up if you pull up the maps on iNaturalist or the emerald ash borer spread by USDA, there's a lot of that stuff that they overlap crazily. And I mean, like, it's amazing just how much the golden oyster spread seems to be trailing just behind the emerald ash borer, including the pockets right up there in Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Tennessee. There's these little pockets of emerald ash borer concentrations, and right there's where the golden oyster is. That's pretty telling, I think. So I'm not afraid of it, but I could profit off of it. So I might do it. And having a golden sporeless strain that just grows basically these golden pearls, I think would be a very, very good way to go. So we're gonna try that for sure. So I definitely have thoughts on it. And the biggest thing would be just mutation. Rather than breeding sporeless, mutation would probably be the best way to go. I know when you cut a tree that hasn't run naturally, it will right out of the center of each end it'll fruit right out of the end of the center of each end very reliably. Interesting. Oysters and lion. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was looking at. It's not done a lot in the U.S. This log fragmentation fruiting. It's getting a little chilly in here. But the parts of Europe, you see log fragmentation, indoor fruiting of the log fragmentation fruiting, where they're actually growing on logs and then bringing them indoors to fruit them. And we're going to try that. You don't see that as commonly in Japan, but from what I understand, in Japan, most logs go to the shiitake culture by far. Oysters and lion's mane are not hugely grown on logs in Japan. Not that they aren't at all. It's just that it's a rarer thing. So, boy, I'm getting eepy again. Well, anybody got any questions, concerns, comments? Now is your time, because I'm gonna be hitting the sauna soon. It is ready and beckoning and calling, and my throat's getting a little itchy. So I just want to make sure that I get people their good question times in, and I have been rambling a lot, so people may not have been asking questions because of that. Think I need coffee? Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like I would, except that I'm already sleepy, so I want the coffee. But then if I hit the coffee, if I hit it after, I have to stop at 3:00 because I'm a slow metabolizer by a long shot, and that's great. If it means I can drink less coffee, it means I can drink less wine and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is if I drink it after 3:00, that I will be up all night long. I can't even look at a glass of sweet tea after 3. It's a sentence to stay up all night, and that won't be good the next day. Even though I am a night owl, I will say, since I went into business, though, that's actually since I went into business, I have definitely been my schedule has been more of a 9 to 5 schedule, especially with the in-person mentorships. But nowadays that we've been moving things around, well, my last mentorship was 2 weeks ago. That may be the last full mentorship I ever do. But after that, I've been kind of sleeping in a little bit and then working later, because I like the second shift schedule. The second shift schedule just feels better. That said, I've got kids in school and there's events and all that kind of stuff in the evening, so I do have to be careful with that. But tomorrow night I'll be at the symphony, and I gotta figure out how I'm going to want to stay awake through that whole thing. So I love the sauna. I go in at least once a week, 250 to 500 milligrams of niacin. Right? Really? What's the niacin for, Exception? I take niacin every morning. I take it with my other supplements, and I take it because it's. I was reading a study about how they use niacin to treat ADHD, and because if I have bad ADHD, I started taking niacin, and it helps a lot. Niacin combined with lion's mane and cordyceps, and bam, I am weirdly able to focus all day long. And the evening time hits, and then I start getting kind of, it starts wearing off. Oh, and coffee. I take all that stuff with my morning shake for breakfast, and I drink coffee right alongside it. So caffeine and lion's mane and cordyceps and niacin are all hitting my system. But I would be interested to know why you're doing it for the sauna. Is it just for the blood flow kind of thing? I also take a beet supplement, just total beets. I just take a scoop of that in my shake every morning as well. I make a decadent morning shake. I have a decadent breakfast every day. It is 2 scoops of whey protein powder, full thing of whole milk, 1 scoop total beets, 1 scoop total greens, and about a half a cup of frozen wild blueberries. And it's so good. Check your radar. Oh, really? Is it coming my way, the snow? I will have to check the radar. Let's see. Jefferson City, Tennessee. 40 degrees. Oh, shoot. Yep. But none of it doesn't look like any of it's going to be snow. See? Snow's all along the mountains here, right along the Cumberland Plateau, right along the Smokies. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not there. But yeah, that's I'm gonna get dumped on here in a little bit. So I see what you're saying. Do you have a YouTube link you can post in chat to see the Japanese log? So no, I don't. And that's the thing. I had to use the AI to translate Japanese literature. That's what I was saying earlier, and you may have missed that, Mass, because it was much earlier in the stream. Is that the AI? I've been using the AI to read Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. A couple of these manuscripts, like a couple of them were like straight up manuscripts, right? Like translated. But yeah, the AI has been great because it can read the Japanese and translate it to English very seamlessly. So that's been wonderful. But I don't have a video because, and it's one of the things is like I'm about to do videos for it because it's such an unknown process in the States, and I really want to do it. I sweat better. I drink 40 ounces of water while I'm in for an hour to 90 minutes. Okay, so I only hit mine for about 20 minutes because this is very redneck. I took basically a Vivo Sun tent. I put a couple of chairs in it. I insulated the sides and the top. And I've got pieces of foam in the bottom where we put our feet and stuff. And then I have 2 valves, 2 brass valves on my boiler. So I can run the boiler for the pasteurizer, or I can use that same boiler, 9 kilowatts, to make my sauna. It is not OSHA approved by any means, but it gets hot in there. It gets hot really fast. So it's a steam sauna more than a sauna. But I come out very, very sweaty. I had to shower immediately after. So do what? Lobster-fied. Yeah, I come out all red. Did the detective come by when I was saunaing? I don't remember this. Was this back when I was sick? No? Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh. Right. So Charles and I had just lifted weights, and then we do the sauna naked. So we're doing the sauna and get out, and we're toweling off, and there's a detective touring the place because we had someone trying to constantly break in and trespass, and like he was showing up at 3 a.m. All this stuff. This was when I was sick, but it was whenever I'd recovered a bunch. But anyways, he came because of all the break-in attempts and things. And Samantha was taking him on a tour, and then Samantha was like, "No, we can't go in there because." And what did you tell him because we were doing a sauna? Okay. You don't know that he believed you. So Samantha's like, "Oh, we're in a mushroom facility. Don't go in that room. There's 2 naked men in there." You know. uh, yeah, no kidding. Hi, do you know what happened to Edward Grin? I'm sad that his YouTube is gone. Yeah, so Ed was he came on and chatted on the last stream, but not just his main channel, every other channel associated with those email addresses, I guess, got wiped out. I don't know why it got wiped out. I don't know if he knows why it got wiped out. I think there are people in the mushroom world, like you'll get targeted and people will report you. There's that, but then there's also the algorithms are not built for mushroom growers. And so if something changes in the algorithm and they hit you like 3 times, it'll just wipe you out. They don't always grandfather in the the infractions. So that's something that I don't know if he got pegged by the algorithm or if he got pegged by people just constantly hitting that. That happened to me for a long time. And then eventually it stops. That's one of the reasons why I'm so careful. And Ed is definitely in a world that's a little bit more sensitive, right? And so if you've got competitors who don't like you in this more sensitive world, because of the very nature of them being actives, you have an issue. And there's a lot of people getting in and selling genetics nowadays, and it's gotten cutthroat for a lot of people. But whatever I see in gourmet, it's like 10 times that in the actives world. There's all kinds of lawsuits I know of flying around and a bunch of other stuff as far as fungal genetics go. And I've gotten into a really comfortable position, but it's taken me a long time and working with a lawyer and working with the AI and getting legal stuff set aside, getting things set up. Talking to Dr. Oman came and talked to me a couple of times. That's been really nice, though. I haven't reached out to him in ages. I need to reach out now that I'm not sick. And I did reach out to Mushroom Wonderland and have not heard back yet. So we'll see where that goes. But I need to reach out to Dr. Oman as well. So I need to remember that. Remember Dr. Oman. But it took me a long time to get there where I was comfortable selling genetics again. So now I'm about to start releasing genetics all over the place because any of my new stuff is protected, at least under my terms and conditions. And it keeps a lot of the flagrant $5 King Blue syringes and stuff at bay. So I was actually really saddened to see that a fellow YouTuber would take my strain and sell it at $5. I mean, that's crazy to me. You never know, though, what's going to happen. A much bigger channel than mine, too, which saddened me. So anyways, that's what happened to Ed as far as I know. Got my tribbles today. Thank you. You're very welcome, Just Me. That is one of my favoritists. That is one of my newest, most protected strains at the point. And it has little tribble babies going right now. Tribbles is literally about to blow up like tribbles.
Thank you for your patience.
Yep.
I've been working diligently on orders as soon as Andrew.
She has.
We've had a little bit of an uptick, so it's a little bit.
Yep. I don't know if you guys heard that. We had a little bit of an uptick, but then beyond that, we had back-to-back mentorships for more than a month straight, and then we had the class to prepare for and a bunch of other stuff. And so now we're getting caught up on all the orders and Patreon and all that kind of stuff through the holiday season. Plus the holiday. Teddy, you are itchy, buddy. Stop itching. You're gonna rub. Hey, that'll do. You're gonna rub yourself raw, buddy. Stop it. Now, hey, Teddy. Stop it. Anyways, so he's just gonna go right back to chewing. We've got these anti-itch bites we have to give him. But yeah, Tribbles is one of my absolute favorites. I hope you really enjoy it. What's up, Jesse Tinsley? Not a bot. Why do you always say I'm not a bot? It's like it's like the first thing you always say. Can't wait to see those videos of the Japanese stuff. Yeah, man, I want to do a little bit of testing first, so it'll be closer to spring before they're released. But I'm very, very, very excited. Ted, come here. Come here. Go in your hutch. Go in there. Good boy. Good boy. Why don't you stop chewing? Yeah, stop chewing. Yeah, you're such a good boy. You shouldn't chew. You shouldn't chew. But the Japanese log culture stuff is something I'm really excited about. I've always wondered, how can we make mushrooms more acceptable to the permaculturalists, like the plastic use. Like, I want to get away from the plastic use so bad. I know we're not the worst offenders, right? That's something I've been a proponent of, is that as far as agriculture goes, we are not the worst offenders by any means. But oh my goodness, I think that we can actually have farms that want to get away from the plastic use. They can actually do it with the log fragmentation fruiting and these Japanese inoculation methods. So, this is how you know if someone buys your genetics and resells it. Well, I mean, so if they're selling it by my name, then that's pretty easy, right? But the other is genetic sequencing. That's one of the reasons why things take a long time, is that we have to hire people to do genetic sequencing, and I can order, a test buy from one of these people if I see them reselling a strain that seems like it. There's 2 or 3 cheaper methods. One's the fusion method, where you'll take a piece of tissue of your strain and a piece of tissue of the suspected strain, and you put them in a dish together. That's not always 100% though. The 100% method is sequencing. So I would have to have some reason to think that they're doing it. But the worst offenders to me are the ones who take your strain name, and then just start selling it. They don't change it in any way. And in fact, they cheapen it by growing it on less good liquid culture or less good cold storage methods or things like that. So, what are you doing with my phone? For the kids? Well, call your steady to be a while. But you go ahead and give them a call. Oh. Anyways, that's the main way. So, you can do the fusion tests, and genetic sequencing. That's one of the things that Dr. Oman talked to me about. Plus, the price of genetic sequencing is coming down big time. So that's a big, nice thing, is that that helps you protect even further. So, but again, the worst offenders are when someone takes your strain, they take your strain, your name, sell it because, like, let's say King Blue Oyster. King Blue has a name. And I don't just mean that it is a named strain. I mean that it has built up a name for itself as being one of the most effective mortgage lifting strains out there. It was released before I had protections. I just expected people to play fair, and I shouldn't have. And then people will take that, put it on cheap LC juice, and they'll grow the crap out of it. They won't do proper cold storage techniques, and they'll just expand it. Or they'll use me as their genetic bank. They'll buy a $30 syringe, make a jar, and start selling it for $5, or $10, and then put it on a 50% sale. Or there'll be, all this kind of stuff. And so that's really what it comes down to. Now, if people are buying and selling mushrooms, I don't really worry about that. As far as, like, I've got people that do sell spawn, but they get written permission. We have forms for that. So if people, like, I'm not against people selling certain things at all. I just want us all to work on the up and up and respect each other. And I want that to be a part of the community, is a community of respect for each other's work, because we don't want culture vultures. Even though I hate to say that, because I freaking love vultures, but we don't want people coming in, taking someone else's hard work, whether that be something that's strain trained or something that is bred and is unique and something that people put work into. If people start just stealing all this stuff, then people like me are just going to quit. We're just going to do the thing that makes us money, and we're not going to do the thing that pushes the industry forward or pushes genetics forward or anything like that. We're just going to give up. We might work on it on our own, but it won't be stuff we release. And I haven't released new strains in years because of this. It's only been recently that I've started releasing new strains. So, you know, there's that kind of stuff. Like, part of it is I hope people just, you know, follow the terms and conditions like they agree to. And then I'm just not selling strains to people that don't agree to the conditions. If you buy off from my website, you've agreed to not resell it in culture form or spawn form. That said, again, people can get written permissions. So me too, that was brought up to me early on, and I'm new to this. Uh-oh. I don't know what you're talking about there. Sorry, Barbara. Where there's a delay in, like, when I get to the comments and stuff, you know, I don't always know what it's up to. What's up? What is that photo of? Oh, I see it now all of a sudden. Okay, it's a band. That took me a second. Holy crap, I just Googled Mossy King Blue. Yeah, what did it come up with? Oh, somebody's selling it on eBay for $11.98. Kingdom LCs. Is that why you're saying holy crap? King Blues from Mycelium Emporium from Mossy Creek. Page is not available anymore. Well, why did you say holy crap? I just want to know. Oh, everyone's selling my strain. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's gotten bad. So mail someone a little chunk of knocked up oak that grows a shiitake. Just add water. Yeah, I mean, you know, that could be kind of fun. The Me Too was regarding plastic bag. Oh, getting away from that non-compostable and not easy to recycle. I believe the Chinese are working on it, but bags don't seem like the end game. Well, it's oh, my screen froze again. It does this to me occasionally, and it hasn't done it to me for multiple streams, and then it just started again today. But I blame Battlefield 6. I think it's fragged my video card. But anyways, the plastic bags are definitely not the most sustainable choice, right? There's gonna have to be other things, and then maybe it's corn plastic or whatever, right? But there are no compostable bags. There for a long time, there was someone out there saying that unicorn bags, that unicorn had a compostable or oxo-biodegradable is what they called it. Oxo-biodegradable bag. And it was oxo-degradable, but it was not biodegradable. And the idea was that they were saying is that it oxo-degrades, and then it goes down to a small enough particle of plastic that the bacteria can fully envelop it and consume it. And that is exactly what we don't want. That's called microplastics. And what happens is the bacteria eat up all those plastic shards, and then those plastic shards get concentrated. Like the slugs eat the bacteria, right? And as the slugs eat the bacteria, they concentrate the microplastics in them, and then they get eaten by, a lizard or whatever eats the slug, and then it goes up the food chain and gets concentrated all the way up, spreading the microplastics around, and we don't want that. So they need to go in the landfill. Our county takes them and renders them through a methane plant, basically. And that's pretty interesting. But yeah, there's not really a good option right now. But I think there might be for people who live in a fort. The only problem with logs, to me, is that logs must be sourced where you are, whereas pellets can be brought in from all over the place. So someone in the desert can order pellets in and grow off pellets. Much easier than someone who lives in the desert can order trees and have them brought in of a large enough quantity to grow mushrooms. There's also a bunch of other things with logs. Logs take a lot more real estate than bags do because they take a little longer to grow in. There's just a bunch of stuff that kind of goes with logs, but it can be done in a very economical way. But it takes a different business mindset and setup, infrastructural setup. So, but yeah, the Chinese, I think, are working on it. But I think the Americans are working on it more than anybody. Unicorn is the most I've seen try the hardest, at least, to get there. But I'm slightly stoned, so smell checks messing with me. Smell checks. The smell checks are getting to you. Yeah, that'll happen, man. You can't really smoke though and do that either. You know, like I lose all my sense of smell if I smoke. So, I just tuned in. How's LC to substrate experiment going? Great. It's going great. The shiitake, enoki, hericium all take liquid culture to bulk fanatically, like super easily. Fantastically, maybe is what I meant to say. The oysters can be hit or miss. Your substrate, if you make sawdust and like whole oats or a whole grain substrate, so that's sawdust with a whole grain, I've noticed that the LC takes a lot better than it does if you're doing just a supplemented sawdust. But that said, if you use the right nutrition in your liquid culture premix, and you use your liquid culture while it's fresh and running and at its highest metabolic state, it takes to the sawdust a lot quicker. That's actually something we're going to be covering, the LC to substrate experiment. We're covering that in our liquid culture deep dive class on the 13th of this month. So we have a few spots left for that open. So if you're interested in like learning how to do that, we're going to go into aerated LC and the liquid culture to bulk systems, automatic syringe pullers, extraction lids, different types of bioreactor setups, etc. So, you know, if you've got an interest in going like transition an op entirely to massive amounts of liquid culture, we are going to be doing massive amounts of liquid culture in that class. Do you have an hourly rate to talk industry? I absolutely do. I charge $200 an hour. And I used to do a 3-hour minimum, but these days I just sell by the hour at this point. We also have the online classes. So, and I do talk industry stuff in some of those classes. So people like that have any sort of interest in a liquid culture based business, whether that be liquid culture to bulk, you know, et cetera. That's what we're doing that class for. That's mossycreekmushrooms.com under the Learn tab. It's the online mentorships. And we have the basics course as well, which is, you know, a 6-hour, both of those are 6-hour classes. So but if you're wanting like some straight up just one-on-one time, I absolutely do that. And that's we just charge $200 an hour for that. And you can just send us an email and I'll set it up. We're working on the back-end infrastructure for people to the scheduling software into the website, but I don't have that in yet. So that was another thing that we're doing this holiday. Since we were able to slow down on everything else, I'm able to get more things onto the website. So I just got our liquid culture bulk packs back up. I think I got 3 liquid culture bulk packs up. So I got a Hericium, a farmer's market, and a specialty, or maybe I don't have the specialty one up yet. I can't remember. But we have 3. I think we have 3 liquid culture bulk packs up now. So getting a lot of trying to work on it as fast as I can. Thankfully, the AI helps. Samantha helps, but a lot of it's still just a slog getting that going. So, alrighty. Well, I've been on for an hour and 45 minutes, and my sauna has been ready for 45 minutes. So I think I'm gonna jump off and jump into the sauna. I will schedule next week's out a lot further in advance. It'll be the last one we have before I do my class. So we do need to keep that in mind. And Teddy, stop it. She'll be back in here in a second. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you jumping on with me. I know, again, that I just kind of threw this one together last minute. But we try to have this every Thursday, 5 p.m. So even if you don't see a notification, I usually do it. And I try to make some sort of announcement if I am not going to do it. That announcement can be oftentimes found on Instagram if I am not going to be doing it. So, I put a new song on the intro and outro. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free to stick around until the stream ends. And yeah, thank y'all. Keep spawning culture.
Step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends. Writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg a plate a portal to a parallel vision. Mentorship spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order. Make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.